So work session. On item number 2, we already had item number 1, which was our Arbor Day and tree planting celebration. Now we'll move on to a much more interesting budget presentation.
That's debatable, but it is a lot of money, let's put it that way, so it should be interesting, as much money as we're talking about today, so.
Okay, so we'll turn the time to Brandon and Taggart, each take over.
So just as a culmination of our work session meetings, our next meeting will be the tentative budget in the first council meeting in May. But prior to that, the last item that we want to discuss here as part of our budget are our capital projects that are related to part of the discussion around when we have our budget meetings and discuss the needs of the city and the things that are going on. Is how exactly we fund those. And obviously capital projects are big, generally speaking, big dollar items. And so we put together this presentation to kind of identify for you what a lot of those projects are. So you have an idea what those are. And like a special thanks to Trevor Bell and Taggart here, of course, in helping keep track of these and put them together. And especially Taggart in getting this presentation put together. So without further ado, I will turn the time over to Taggart.
All right, thanks, Brandon. It's a pleasure to be here. It's hard to compete with planting a tree. I know this is some pretty exciting stuff, but this is fiscal year 2025 capital improvement projects. Hopefully, I put enough pictures in here. I tried to put a lot of pictures on this page. We've got one of my favorites is you recognize this building here, the Geneva Park maintenance storage shed we did last year. And then some other stormwater projects, the roadway project. And capital improvement projects are my favorite things to talk about. This slide's just a summary of the budget. The different budget funds, got CIP, water rec, stormwater, and streets, and all the totals. Coming up to a total cost of just over 17 million. And the asterisks on the CIP fund is primarily parks projects, transportation projects, and library, the library project in that fund. For that total of just over 4 million. And
Facility.
Yeah, facilities. And the asterisk there indicates that that fund also includes land and water conservation funds, care tax down there in the corner, and then Lakeview Parkway for Fund 24. Pretty neat project is a cabin restoration project, which is currently down at the water reclamation facility being held there until next year, where it'll be moved to Heritage Park. So the city will hire a special contractor who specializes in historical preservation to take this cabin. So you got another picture of it there. It was built in the 1880s, so they're gonna restore the walls and floor and the windows and doors. Basically, take it apart, put it back together, put a roof on it to a similar type of style.
We got this 3, 4, 5 years ago, didn't we? Seems like it was inside a house and we found it some years ago.
A few years ago, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So that'll be moved to the Heritage Park on top of near the water tanks. So it's a pretty cool project. That's
found kind of close to Carl's Jr., right, Ryan? And when they were demolishing the properties, they found that it was sort of a house within a building.
Yeah.
So that's where
That was Bill Fairbanks.
is that Bill Fairbanks was the owner.
Yes.
right on State Street.
Found it. Tear down there.
The original builder would be shocked that we're spending 200 grand to build. Right?
You probably know like 5 well.
200, I don't know, maybe, but yeah, as well.
A little bit of inflation there. Next project is Center Street Maintenance or North Landscaping. This is year 1 of 3. This is actually 500,000. We'll go through a slide later on that shows 50,000 will come from the water fund. 450,000 will come from CIP. And I'll show you the next slide, the locations. primarily on Center Street, near I-15. There's some areas there that don't look very, very good right now, a lot of weeds, we wanna clean those up, beautify that. So 7 of those areas are on Center Street, and then we have, this next picture here, we have 4 more areas on 800 North. And these areas are all owned by either Orem City or UDOT. So that's the nice thing, that's right, right?
So this will be year 1 of 3, and right now we're looking at doing the middle section right there, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then on the previous slide, doing all of those with this year's money.
So several years ago, we did a project on 800 North, you can kind of see it there. Well, it's hard to see, but right there on 8th North to the east of number 11. Really cleaned up that area, did rock, and we also have a monument sign there and some plantings on top. And then back in 2021, we did the Center Street project, so if you look back at the number 1 area there, that's right there about 950 west. On the north side of the road, we did a project which it's been pretty nice, I think, to clean up that slope there. And so that's what that looks like on the north side. So we want to kind of replicate that on the south side. This is a pretty exciting project, Windsor Park. I just learned more about it recently. It's going to include a multi-sport court, pickleball courts, a new storage restroom building, can improve the walking path, lighting, benches.
Are we just replacing the tennis courts with sports courts or adding to it? Does anyone here know?
I can speak to that. We're gonna leave the tennis courts how they are. They're in good shape.
Because we refurbished them a couple of years ago.
Right. So Windsor Park, where the building is, just to the west of the ball fields,
Yes.
there's that old pad of asphalt right by the building that's got some old basketball hoops there. That's gonna be an all-new sport court. Wonderful. Multi-sport court that should have 6 basketball hoops and accommodate futsal. And then to the west of that, we're gonna put in 4 pickleball courts. There's a concept for you to look at.
That is my park. Thank you. You got us a new playground a while ago.
Oh, thank you. Looks great.
Yeah.
And have the Jazz logo on that sports court?
Yeah, we've actually, Carson Hardy's been a big help to go after some additional grant funding. It's looking quite promising. There's a real good chance that we'll get some partnership with the Utah Jazz, and WW Clyde is gonna donate a lot of concrete. Part of the deal is that we brand it with Jazz logos, which will be cool anyway, so. Yeah, we're looking at every possibility to save a little money here and there.
What are you doing to the walking path?
The walking path, you'll see the pickleball courts are kind of where they are.
Yeah.
This is still up for debate. This is concept at the moment. But we're either gonna swing the jogging path around for the pickleball court, or we're gonna actually reroute it. And we're looking at being able to afford to replace all of that old asphalt with a reduced scope of nice new concrete where it makes sense, and maybe we'll make the jogging path part of that. We're still trying to decide.
Okay.
It'll be awesome.
Then there's the trees, the trees where the pickleball courts are, obviously they're gonna be moved.
No, being in the middle of the court.
Oh, yeah, there'll have to be a few trees removed. We're trying to find the best spot to not.
About the trees, so.
There will be a few that probably need to move, and we're trying to take that into consideration where we impact the trees the least. Any trees that we remove, we're gonna replace one to one. So
And then will you have the timed lights? Are we putting that on our pickleball courts and all that? So.
yeah, this
Restricted.
plan includes lighting for the new courts, and we're also considering updating the lighting for the ball field as well.
That's needed.
Yeah, it'll be very cool.
I love it. Thank you.
We don't like some baby steps.
And then we've also got just a zoomed out view. And if you can, it's kind of hard to see, but the asphalt in this area, it's around those baseball fields, walking areas where the bleachers are, just in really bad shape. And so I want to replace that with concrete. And so it might not be as wide as this in the walking path area, but I want to clean that up and then fill in the some of the asphalt area with landscaping, sod, trees.
You know, wait a minute, I didn't like what you just said. Did you said the walking path is not gonna be as wide as it is now?
Might be through this area where the building is,
Oh, okay.
but
But, cause oftentimes when I walk there, right, and, yeah, you have to walk off when you meet someone. It's actually kind of narrow.
yeah, so just where the building is. what I
Okay.
meant. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
But around the grass.
it'll be the same. And just back to that amount, 1.75 million, and that also includes the, you gotta have an acronym in the engineering, it's like LWCF grant. That's a reimbursement, you know, Tyler, on that. So,
I'm sorry, I was entering an email, LWCF money, is that the question?
yeah, is it reimbursement 50/50 or?
It's a 50% match, and I was in a meeting with them recently. We're probably gonna be reconvening, because when we put the application together, it was almost a year and a half, 2 years ago, and costs changed. But yeah, it's a 50% match. 50% of this, I don't believe is in the application though. Because then we added lighting after the application was sent. We're gonna negotiate with them and see what we can do to increase that scope, and get a little more money.
So for those on the council that are unaware, LWCF is a federal grant that gives, essentially it encumbers the land such that it has to be used as park space in perpetuity. Well, there's a number of parks in Oregon where they have used these grant funds in years past. And so anywhere where parks already encumbered in that way, we've now found some success in going back to apply for these federal funds, and it essentially doubles our money and doubles the size of the projects that we need to make in these loans.
Is it basically a conservation easement that they're putting on that property?
Yeah, I'd say that's a good way to do it. Yeah.
Wow,
I want to
really?
make sure that it forever is
Yeah.
conserved as park space and recreation.
Oh.
And this park already has one on it, so.
Oh,
So
does
when
it?
they're already encumbered, we're saying, okay, great, now we want to come back and we're going to improve these.
We want to
So and it's encumbered anyway, so
Yeah.
really there's no cost in that.
Well, and we've learned it gives us an advantage to get the money, because it's a lot less hassle for them when it's already encumbered. We just reevaluate and go through the application for us. So it's been a really good way to make parks improvements.
Well, and where you know, I mean, by the ordinance that we passed, we want to serve parks and schools, that's our orientation, so it just fits in with that.
Yep, absolutely.
So this kind of reminds me of Sharon Park, and we've also done some improvements at Geneva, and so I think this is a great project for Windsor to lighten up that
And
area.
their pavilions, they're not even involved, right? We could go to that again, but there's pavilions there, they're farther enough away, looks like. They're not gonna be touched,
Yeah,
right?
they're not
They're gonna remain how
Because they
are.
seem
There's
in
no
good
reason
shape
to-
to me.
Yeah, they're fine.
Okay.
We are gonna walk that and see if there's any other little things we can do to improve. Bryce and I have been talking about doing more to add more to the park. We wanna give the feeling of, Bryce said it perfectly, a new park rather than an old park with new amenities, right? We're trying to see what we can do to give some really nice touches in all aspects. So there'll probably be some new benches, maybe some picnic tables. We're gonna try and soften up the art space with some landscaping, and it'll be nice.
So just kind of so you know, right, so the grassy area that the walking path is around, that's like the soccer practice,
Right.
you know, and then the hill, the berm,
Yep.
everybody loves that. I taught my kids how to ride their bikes on that, because you just took the little bike down, held someone how to balance, but, okay, yeah, you're gonna preserve all that,
That
right?
remains untouched. My
Keep that
son
open.
practiced soccer there as well, and that's been
Okay.
something we've been very mindful of. We don't wanna change any of that open field
Open
space.
space. You what?
I said, except for the parking lot, we'll drop to the middle.
Oh, yeah. You're dead.
Then we have a new playground there as well,
Yeah,
so.
that's gorgeous. I could take my young adults there to play, so they could experience it now, but I don't know that they would.
And then the jazz logo. Next project's parks, fiber and security. Most of our parks already have fiber accessible for each of the parks, so the next step in that is to multiple year type project is to get security cameras, mag locks on the doors, sensors, stuff like that, so better security at the parks. So that's $50,000. Another really cool project, Bike Skills Trails Park Phase 3. We've already done 2 phases. The first one was just kind of a beginner pump track and short loop or a small loop up north of Timpanogos Park. This project with the superscript there, number 2, you've got that Utah Outdoor Recreation Grant and the CARE funding paying for that. So about 90,000 is coming from the UO grant. And the remaining 130 from CARE. And we've got a really good picture here. If you look up, can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Right there is our water tank for Canyon Springs. And then, so north would be to the right. And then here's the highway right there, Provo Canyon. Right down here in the left bottom corner is Timpanogos Park. And just out of the screen here is the dog park. And then to the east of there would be the bike phase 1 and 2. And so some cool features there. You've got some berms. It's kind of hard to see, but each little red pin shows the different features. You've got some jumps, drops, bridges, fence. Right here where the trails start, you've got a kiosk. And the other section of the, go ahead, Brian.
Tiger, have we been working with the local mountain biking group in the design of this next phase and making sure that's kind of going along with, you know, the skills and features that the mountain biking community?
Something Tyler could.
Yeah, I can speak to that. We ended up working with the Dirt Lizard group that helped design our last one, and he consulted with Jason. In fact, Jason helped with this concept. This is just very preliminary concept, and Jen and I were just talking about putting a group together, including her and Jason and some of those to get with apps that they're currently in design, and we'll.
Jason is someone with.
Jason Christensen is.
He's one of the bike team guys.
He's one of the bike team coaches, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, next part, improvement project is sidewalk leveling. We have a similar type of project we do annually every year. It's called trip hazard mitigation. We hire a contractor to go throughout the city and we select different neighborhoods and then they'll systematically go throughout the city and where the sidewalk is settled or heaped up and they have a difference there, they'll go through and cut that down and make sure it's safer. So this one's specifically for parks, $50,000. And so there's the total 2.7 million. If you take all the amounts there. Then you have your Windsor and the Bike Skills Trails Park, the CARE funding contributing to those.
I think what's really impressive about all that is just the level of grants you guys have been able to bring in to projects. Because your money goes that much further and benefits to the citizens when you bring in those grants. You guys are doing a great job with that.
Yeah, Carson's been coordinating with us on some future grants as well, so really good job on that. Next section of CIP is the transportation project. This is an ongoing annual type project. We have $200,000 for traffic signals or traffic type projects. So that was 200,000. The next project is 1200 West Center Street. This would be a MAG project, a future type project where we would have some improvements done at 1200 West Center Street interchange, I-15. And for any type of MAG project, just so you're aware there with that superscript, city match is 6.77%. And we've got a picture there of just to make this intersection safer, be some options to have some, especially this one on the right where got students trying to get to UVU, maybe traveling this direction where they can take this channelized right turn, loop around and be able to get back down south or in that neighborhood there and not have to come out to the busier traffic, so. Next one's Lakeview Parkway. This is a pretty big project that is in year 3 of 3, $500,000. Got a picture of this one. Just to tell you the extent of this, you can see my mouse there, that we have a new intersection that would go in. So just to show you where we're at here, this road right along here is the existing Geneva Road. This intersection right down here is kind of hard to see. It's 200 South and Geneva Road right there. This development here is called Lakeview Fields. This is an older image, but Lakeview Fields has now been built there. Then if you follow Geneva Road up, just to the north here, out of the screen is University Parkway.
So where's the temple?
To the north or to the south?
To the north,
Is University Parkway?
University Parkway is up
From
here.
200 south?
That's 2,000
south.
south.
2,000. I
It's,
thought you
it's
said
been
200.
rebranded to Provo.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Thank
yeah,
you for the
I meant
clarification.
2,000 south. What did you ask?
Where's
Where's
the
the
temple?
temple
Temple.
in terms of the turn?
Temple is,
Just before the turn.
yeah, about right here. Hard to see. Yeah, it's right there. I think this turn in actually is for the temple property right there. So there's three big projects going on right here. Pretty big coordination effort. The UDOT project is from University Parkway down to this, they'll build a new intersection and they'll wrap around here, coming back down and tie into existing Geneva Road. That's all UDOT. They're currently at about 90% design and hoping to bid out this summer. And our project, which is a max project, is from this intersection about 1,500 south down to 2,000 south. It's our city project, Lakeview Parkway. And then the third project is Provo City is also building their portion of Lakeview Parkway that'll wrap all the way down toward the airport. And then they would also like to build 2,000 south from Geneva 2000 intersection over and connect onto Lakeview Parkway.
Are you anticipating a widening east of 2000 south? East of Geneva,
Widening,
widening? What are they doing, when you say they're building that, they're just continuing the road through?
yes.
And so,
It'll be a brand
they don't
new
own
road.
that property, right? Isn't that the lady who owns the horses?
Yeah, it's Provo City, that will be in Provo City's boundary. The band 2000 south,
Have they acquired the
Oh, they
property?
acquired the
though,
property.
Tiger?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
They've actually bid that project out and got pricing back.
Okay.
yeah, they were hoping to have it finished by the end of the year and pricing came in so high that they had to change their plans. Are still going forward with trying to install utilities this year. So, and Lakeview Parkway, $500,000. The next one's trail improvement fund for $50,000. Purpose of this would be to connect multi-purpose trails in Orem, sections that are missing, so we can identify those and go after those. Those completed.
Does that include our canal? Right, the canal, right, things are working on.
Which now,
What do we have specific trails identified on that?
Yeah, so Mike Taylor's been working on these. These are connections between Vineyard and Orem down around Geneva Road and 4 South.
Okay,
And also he's been working on they call it the Lake and Mountain Trail that runs all the way through Vineyard up 8 north of Orem and then ties into the bottom of the shoreline and we're hooking out.
Okay.
So we're trying to fill these missing pieces and this fund would go towards some of that. We're also pursuing grants and this would be match money if we can get grants.
next item, bike plan update, we would like to hire a consultant to update our bike routes and bike lanes and bike plans as part of the transportation master plan, so this 50,000 go toward as part of the active transportation plan to go toward that match. And we're also seeking grants, trying to get grants right now for this type of project.
so could I make a request? I would love to have my neighborhood commission involved in that, the bike plan update.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I was also a city bike.
Yeah,
Well, we'll have everybody involved that wants to be involved.
okay.
It'll be a big
Cause I
outreach.
mean, it's a project they would really enjoy working on, and giving feedback on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, Mike Orem would love to be in the middle of that as well.
Yeah, they're already
Maybe just-
pretty much, yeah. They are the bikers, right?
They are.
Appreciate that.
For transportation projects, the total comes to 850,000. Our last item as part of the CIP is the admin area remodel. And price can probably speak more or better to this than I can. This is the layout of the entrance to the children's library. To the east here would be the parking lot. Here's the main entrance. And the general idea here is to open this up, get a better open space there where patrons can come in and they can help them. Anything else you want to add to that? Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, Bryce, can you give us a little bit more idea? My understanding is this is essentially to take our library to the next, for the future, right? With these new programs, these new, all the different things you've been working on, and so, because it's $500,000, and so can you give us just more depth on that?
Absolutely, yeah, this is actually an effort that will focus a lot on some of our staffing challenges of the library, bringing the staff together, combining some of our desks and updating what was a circulation desk designed for all in-person interactions when this part of the facility was built 30 years ago. We're able to get the staff a lot closer, the life of the book a lot quicker, automate a number of those pieces, and we'll be able to reduce some of our operating staff costs. Not necessarily our librarians, but our part-time pages and some of sort of like the labor of the library. And in doing so, that will open up 2 other physical spaces in the building that we'll be able to turn into sort of the experience space. We'll take it from a staff office area into some programming space and some community space. And we'll be able to take the funds that have been previously dedicated to just operating staff and move those to programming staff or experiential staff or even collection development dollars. So this is sort of that first big piece that will move us in that direction.
In that direction of a community gathering center?
Yep.
And also just to incorporate all the best practices of libraries you've been going to and touring, that sort of thing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Bryce. Next section is building maintenance. Just to review some costs as part of the budget for building maintenance items. At $5,000 for bike racks at public parks and facilities.
Tiger, if I could jump on that bike racks.
Yeah.
Councilman Lamson is, remember a bike ride with the group a year ago, and they asked for some bike racks in some of our parks. This is what we'll start doing that with. And we've ordered a bike rack for out here in the vestibule on the west side for those that come up State Street. You don't want to ride around the building. That's on order and should be here in a couple weeks, hopefully that'll be installed as well.
And that one actually brought up a good point, because that was one of our residents, right? And she said, she wanted it in the vestibule because it was raining, right?
Yeah.
Good on her for riding her bike in the rain. So to me, I think if that's something we can maybe look at as far as coverings, roofs, tops over bike racks, something to encourage or assist, the protection. Some of these bikes are quite expensive, so I don't know where they're placed or if that's even I don't even know how you design that.
When possible, I think we'll try to do that.
Okay,
It does add to the cost quite a bit.
yeah,
But I think anywhere we can find the option where we have an overhang or something like,
Yes.
besides the city center here, we have that as well, the overhangs.
We can put it close to restrooms, storage, pavilions.
and
Yeah.
even where they can be seen with security cameras.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Next item, rec center diamond plate installation. $7,000. Have a lot of weightlifting going on, people throwing weights around, hitting the walls, bashing their head in the walls. I don't know what's going on there, but they're scuffing up the drywall. So this is one of the items they like to install these diamond plates. They're just a picture of one. They'll probably go about 5 feet off the ground, just in that area where they're damaging the walls. So it'll make it look nicer and keep the and from needing to repair the drywall, so that's what that is. Solid building improvements, $37,000, part of the wastewater reclamation facility. This is over at the senior center. Fence replacement, $13,000. One's on its last leg. $110,000 for new city center security cameras and locks. Fire station bay doors, this is station number 3, which is over on 1200 West, just south of Fort North. Big bay doors there.
And Mark's not here, but I think this will be done in conjunction with a garage door entity that's providing some amount of help as well. So it's sort of it's grant-esque in terms of like a local business is wanting to participate in helping us replace and improve our fire station bay doors.
For a discount, is that other?
A donation, very nice donation.
Yeah, they
Donation
want
is-
materials. They use too much.
Depending on the station, so some stations, they're gonna be more than at others.
Are they doing it at other stations as well?
Byron's working with them right now to determine the scope and to determine which doors need it the most.
I don't know. It's tighter, right? It's less than. So. This is not, it's more than that. Gosh,
I'll,
anyways, that's the, but he lives on the open business at Orem. Wonderful.
so I'll just, they're being very generous in their donation, and they expressed a willingness to do a lot. We haven't wanted to, get portion of them out, so that's what Brian's being, so I'm trying to be sensitive about what the scope is and if exactly.
Oh.
Thanks, Frank. Next section is our ongoing funded projects. I changed it from sinking, ongoing.
Thank you.
Is that? It's gonna say glass out of all projects.
They're not just sunk costs.
That's right.
Nice.
Come on, Brandon, you can adapt.
So this one, when the rec center was built, we put in a sonar system. This is north facing, we all know in the shade that ice just doesn't melt and it's actually slopes toward the shade, just the way we had to build it there. And so snow melt system has worked really well, but the concrete cracked, so we had to go in and repair that. When they went and repaired it, they nicked the glycol and it leaked, so we had to repair that. Now we repaired the concrete, now it's leaking again, so that's $20,000 is to go in and fix that system.
So what, the way that system works right now is the snow melt system's tied into the heating system of the entire fitness center. So if that starts leaking, it impacts the whole building. So this solution is to isolate the snow melt system on its own miniature heat exchanger and separate it from the rest of the building. So it's something we wish we'd done when we built the building, but now we know how temperamental these systems are. They work great when they work, but they leak easily, we've found out.
Next project is the Seraphil locker room boilers, 44,000. Boilers can get really expensive. There's a picture of the boiler. Sierra concrete deck replacement, we've got some sections of sidewalk there that are cracked, need to be replaced. Concrete's really expensive. Seems like it keeps going up, so that's the $37,800. This item's for painting all buildings, $35,000. This will be an annual type ongoing project that would cover many different buildings. Public Works roof replacement and HVAC unit replacement here for, you have $138,000, $90,000. For a total of $365,000. So the total for the maintenance and the ongoing is $7,000.
And just to clarify, all those year 103, year 404, that's just for this year. But that's 4 times that or 3 times that, right?
Yeah, correct. The next slide is for water projects. We have 1.8 million, $50,000 is part of that landscaping project to help install meter sprinklers. Master plan projects for water would include anything related to the pump house near the water tank as needed, with pricing still an unknown of how much that's gonna cost. We have that extra money there to add to that. And we also have a list of water line projects that we put on hold through the past 2 years that are in a queue waiting to be done, that we can use this money for. And then we have a water line down, 12-inch water line we'll install as part of the Lakeview Parkway project that we'll use this money for that as well. A water rec fund, we have 500,000 for maintenance, 3.6 million for master plan projects. Master plan projects will include maintenance for rehabbing sewer lines or remove and replace main lines. And also part of the master plan projects will be the capital facilities plan, which is a wastewater reclamation facility. So a big chunk of this money would go for projects that have been lined out at the wastewater treatment facility.
So back to that, so that water reclamation plan, that's looking at like $18 million or something for that plan,
The wastewater reuse,
with the wastewater reuse.
yeah, was it?
And that's different than this.
Yes.
So as we've, over the last year and a half, as we brought kind of capital facilities money for the treatment plant itself, that's been quite a big number as we look over the next 40+ years. And so we will still look to go out for potential debt financing, start to do the first phase of that, to upgrade and replace some of the important components of the treatment plant. So this is just a small portion to make sure, A, that we're using existing fund balance to go towards that, so that when we go to put it out for financing, it's as little as possible. And then we're also showing the bond overseers that we're doing our part to. So that we're not just completely relying on pure debt funds.
So this actually goes towards that big giant project we've been talking about. These are just some of the critical things that have to come. They're not gonna be obsolete, they're part of that project, right?
Yes. At least some of it now. Some of it is like Tad was saying too, is we always have a list of main lines out in our streets that we try to knock off some of the smart meter as well, in terms of whatever the worst ones are. So when we send the cameras down our different lines, then that's how we assess if there's a lot of leaks and it needs to be relined or replaced.
Thanks.
Next slide is a master plan stormwater projects. This would include, I call them canal abandonment projects. The West Union Canal is in the process of being abandoned by the users, the irrigation users. And our stormwater currently, there's many locations in Orem that our stormwater empties into that canal. And we'd like to get out of that canal because as the irrigation users abandon that, we're left with our stormwater in there as the only user of that canal. So we would like to get as many lines as we can out of that canal. And so to do that takes quite a bit of planning. And some of it is really expensive, and there's some, really pricey options that we're still trying to figure out. One of them is, there's one that we did last year. It was the very first slide, a picture of, we took at Forth South near Carterville Road. We now have a line that goes into the Provo River, so we got out of the canal at that location. So we're slowly chipping away at getting out of the canal, diverting out of the canal. This slide covers our annual streets projects. Every year we do these projects to improve our streets. First one's overlay and reconstruct for just under 1.9 million. Of our slurry and crack seal, micro surfacing for 500,000. Trip hazard, miscellaneous street construction, and striping, and concrete ADA ramps. We just finished up our concrete ADA ramp project. Or that kind of went through the winter for 4.9 million.
How often are you doing the slurry? I know you used to go through the neighborhoods every 5 years or something. That's, we're still kind of targeting.
Yeah, and we meet every year and reevaluate where we are with the state of the streets and then adjust accordingly to try and keep that high standard.
And just as a point, as Jen and I had the opportunity to do a tour of all of the Public Works has a wonderful, they go through and they have a computer model of everything in the entire city. And they track the highest priority and so they know by serial and tracking and every piece of property and underground and overground, when it needs to be done, and which is very impressive. And this is just now taking that into a model and then now having it proactively taken care of. So I'm just really impressed. Thank you.
Oh, thank
For the work you do.
So on the reconstruction, is that 950 north on 8 east and 400 east this year? You're killing me, man. It's been like 10 years. That's the worst road in Orem.
I
It's right
have
in front
cracks
of
in my road out front of my house.
No,
You take care
go
of first.
drive down Candy View, it's
I've
950
seen it.
north.
I've
You'll lose
seen
your
it.
feelings.
Tires on that Porsche, Dave.
Lose my feelings, man. That thing's there.
If we can do it, we will do it. I know we're waiting on some utility improvements in there too, and as you know,
Yeah, because Chris has been pushing it down the road and we gotta get something going.
yeah, now, you
I
know,
think 200
we
West
talked
is
about this
worse.
because of the well and all those other big projects that water's tied into. We can't put a new road on those bad water lines, and so as soon as they're good, we'll get you.
Yeah. Sooner than later.
Actually, we did the tour, they mentioned your street by name.
And they said they were
And
never
it's on
gonna
the
do it.
list.
Dave Spencer's Porsche.
Let's make it a target.
11 years I've been pushing.
Let's make it a target for Dave Spencer's 70th birthday to have.
Softer tires or the road.
That's next week, Simon.
What's that?
That's next week.
You gotta get moving.
It
Oh,
won't
wow.
look as cool.
So just so everybody's aware, there's 3 revenue sources that pay for these roads. You have, whenever you buy gas, there's an excise tax element that called B and C roads that pays for a portion of this. And then when you buy anything that has sales tax related to it, there are 2 pieces in that sales tax. Transportation sales tax, which was initiated several years ago. And then just here, this year, a new public, exact term is, but public transportation tax was added. So those 3 revenue sources are what are funding all of these projects each year.
You don't know, Brandon, how much of this total it comes from that latest tax, do you?
I think we estimated it would, that new would be around 2 million, 1.5 to 2 million range, somewhere in there.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit more to Councilmember Spencer's point. So we do go through a very detailed grading system on all of our roads. And each one of these items will then kind of bump back up the grade for each road. And we take that plan and that data and we overlay it with what is the capital infrastructure that's beneath the road. And so that we want to make sure that we don't reconstruct a road or make it like new one year and have all the neighbors go through the pain of, having their local road closed or hard to get in and out of. And then come right back within a year or two and say, oh, sorry, we've got to cut up the road and put in a new water line. So that does require us to then be patient in the meantime, but that is at least kind of the method behind the impacts.
Thank you for having that foresight.
I've seen other
Once
municipalities
is
do
enough.
just that. So yes, you guys are awesome.
One of our main goals is we don't want to tear up a new road, so we meet regularly with Public Works, streets section particularly, review all the roads upcoming over the next year or two, the roads they want to rehabilitate, and then we meet with the utilities in the coming months after that to review over all those roads, make sure all the utilities are good. So that's one of our main priorities, is making sure everything's lined up.
And I should say, it is more than just a customer service thing. Anytime we cut into a road due to utilities, it creates essentially a weakness in the road itself, where then weather could get in underneath that mini kind of seam, and then that causes sort of cracking or deterioration of the road even quicker after that.
There is just the summary again from the beginning of the presentation with our total for all the funds, and then our total just over 17 million. Anything you want to add, Brandon?
No, so I guess the only thing I want to add is keep in mind, every year in June, when we come to our final budget amendments, we transfer some money that has, at least we have in the last number of years, excess funds from the general fund. A large portion of those, particularly the CIP fund area, those funds that we transfer are paying for many of those projects. So just keep that in mind when we come to you in June, what we were referring, when we refer to those monies, that those monies are being used and have been outlined here as part of this presentation.
Any other questions?
That's it.
That's great, Stagger.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Thank you. Tiger, as long as you're up there. We've got, item number 3, a presentation. And it's construction standard drawings and specifications. This is an update.
You're not through with me yet, so bear with me. This is the less boring presentation. Oh, I love capital improvement projects. So in Orem, for a long time, we've been using the APWA specifications and standards. I'm familiar with that. This presentation is an update to our construction standards, drawings, and specifications.
And Tiger, APWA stands for American Public Works Association.
So American Public Works Association.
Beating to it, so
There's, I tried to get there faster, sorry.
my bad. You
So
know how we are with
APWA, there's another acronym. American Public Works Association. It was first published, the set of specification in 1991, just to give you a background on how long they've been around. I want to just go over quickly with you some benefits of the APWA standards and specifications. One of the benefits of having those as a city adopting specifications is they make an attempt to stay current with the latest industry standards. They provide standard construction practices for contractors. So every contractor out there, if I go to a contractor and I talk to them about the road base specification and compaction requirements, the type of gradation required for a road base, and I'm in a different city and I'm talking about the APWA, I can make a reference to that, and it's just good to have that common knowledge across multiple agencies and cities. It also outlines requirements for public works. If they're maintaining a utility or a road, they have requirements all laid out for them for utilities and infrastructure. I also have a consensus on, I was just mentioning, organization of specifications, outlines everything in a nice table of contents, and everything is very organized and put together very well. It also provides uniform construction practice among cities, counties, and other agencies. And they also provide updates and amendments to the APWA specifications. The most current APWA specifications are from year 2017. They try to come out with a new update to the APWA every 5 years. For that would have been 2012. They're supposed to come out with a new update to these in 2022. And due to reasons I'm not aware of, I'm not sure why, but they still haven't come out with the 2022. So the most current specs of the right now is 2017. So we've been told that in 2025, they're supposed to come out with a new one, but they've been saying that now for a few years. So our goal is to have this updated to the most current specifications. So we use the APWA specs for capital improvement projects, for CIP, for private development projects. Every time we put together a capital improvement project, we have a bid schedule. So we put together in that bid schedule, could be 20 line items, 30 line items, and we outline in there quantities for each of those line items. And we put together what's called an M&P, measurement payment special conditions. So every one of those bid line items has a paragraph of information that will describe that item. Everything would be included with that item is detailed and lined out in that M&P measurement payment. And inside each of those paragraphs describing those items, we would call out the APWA specifications related to that item with reference numbers. APWA specifications for 2017, 897 pages. It's a large document. If you're bored and want to take that home and read it on the weekend, it'll really
More power to you.
It's a page number.
Top of my list.
it's good reading. So right here is just the title page. This is the Utah APWA chapter 2017. What we've done, and we got to give props to engineering staff and public works. They put a lot of time and effort into reviewing these APWA specifications. So we've created a supplemental document. It's 105 pages long. And what that document, I just outlined it. I'll just go through these quickly, but I've outlined a few things here: traffic control, concrete, earthwork, roadway, urban gutter, asphalt, landscaping, utilities, including water, sewer, storm, traffic signals. So everything in this supplemental document is in addition to the APWA. It's a little bit more specific. The APWA is more generally based on the construction. It's more generic. So we've gone into the specifications and created this other document that's more specific here toward Orem and toward different methods that Public Works has approved in coordination with engineering. And what this document does is it outlines, say, if I want to find out how far to install a sewer line from a water line, I can go to this document and find that it needs to be 10 feet apart. What type of hydrant do I want to install in Orem? It'll have that in this document. The type of grades or the type of pipe material that we prefer is in this document. There's a lot more specific items related to Orem in these items. So there's just the title page, and then that's probably hard to see, but there's just an outline of the table of contents and the main items as we've gone through that document. Coordinated that with Public Works. Any questions on any of that? This is really.
The way I'd summarize it is that this is Public Works and engineering best practices. It sets a standard for us to make sure that we're constantly striving to be the best and learning from others' mistakes and don't make those mistakes that then led into these kind of standard operating procedures.
And so another part of our coordination we've done with Public Works is we have standard construction drawing details. There's about 70 of those. We've gone through and redrawn all those, taken a lot of time to go through and make sure the notes are correct. Everything looks good, clear. Tried to clear up. An example I can think of, something we've updated recently, is our wellhead drinking water source protection zones. Have our new wells at 10, 4 south, 4 west. So the new, I think I've included that in here, is we included that in our new construction details, showing all these wellhead protection zones have been updated. So there's a lot of things over the years that it's just a process and things are always changing. There's better methods come out. Public Works has good ideas, so we like to include those in the details, so. Just included a few details. This is our trench detail showing a T-patch. The way we install the trench is to include a 1 foot additional construction on the edge of the trench to help reduce settling. We've got our table of compaction requirements in there. This detail is of our typical cross section. It's got asphalt width, minimum depth of asphalt, road base, sidewalk width, all that's laid out on the table. That's be easy for developer contractor to find to follow. So our water meter detail showing the type of line we prefer, the size of the can, stop and waste, different dimensions, diameter of the can. Good stuff. And this detail outlines what a pre-treatment catch basin is, a sump. Be concrete, corrugated metal pipe. And these are used to percolate water into the ground. Our, for stormwater purposes. There's our wellhead protection source map. And in the notes, they're really small there, but it does outline where sumps are allowed in these different zones to protect our wells. There's a detail for a typical sewer lateral. And there's our standard 80 ramp detail. That's everything I had, so any questions?
It's really short.
I just appreciate Taggart's level of detail and documenting our ability to make sure we do things right and learn from any best practices, both from ourselves and other public works and engineering teams. Thanks.
And Taggart, this would be on the next consent agenda for resolution to adopt these standards, is that correct?
Yeah, can put together a resolution document. Bring it before you to.
Well, and I think you've done a great job here. I mean, our push has been more transparency, more clarification of policies and procedures. I appreciate your putting all the time in to really step it up on this end, because I wouldn't have thought of this to have these standards. So I appreciate your expertise in there.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Taggart.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, we've got item number 4, adjourn to a closed session in room 107. We've also got lunch that just showed up, or dinner, I guess. How do you guys want to do this? Do you want to eat and go do the closed session? Do you want to do the closed session, come back and eat?
Let's take
Let's what?
10-15 minutes.
Okay.
On 4:30.
I didn't have lunch, so.
All about the day, so.
Yes, I'm being so.
Okay, let's, I'm not sure how to do that exactly. We're gonna eat, we're gonna put in during the closed session.
But we need to vote on the closed sessions.
Do you want to motion to adjourn and then we'll just go in a little while?
Yeah.
My water heater.
So I make a motion that we adjourn to a closed session
To discuss?
to
After
discuss.
lunch.
We can go whenever we want, right? To discuss pending or reasonably imminent litigation, the character or professional competence of individuals, or the purchase or lease of real property.
Can we have a second?
Second.
Jensen.
Aye.
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 Okay, we'll adjourn to a closed session in about 17 minutes.
Sorry. Oh, I saw that. So I just asked Steve Earl. Because if they're in a meeting, not do it. But because they're adjourned, we can, and because I don't know how long it's gonna take, I don't want people coming or commenting or anything like that. What's going on? So I'm just gonna end it.